Good morning, everyone. In the muddle of the world today, we are exploring the strength and power of trees. And today, sharing the story of one child's special connection to one tree, uniting with family far away and feeling a belonging. Good morning, everyone. In the muddle of the world today, we are exploring the strength and power of trees and sharing the story of one child's special connection to one tree, uniting him with a family far away and bringing him a real feeling of belonging. This is My Tree by Hope Lim and illustrated by Il Sung Na. In the backyard of our new home stood an old oak tree, tall, crooked, and quiet. It reminded me of the persimmon tree that shaded our porch in Korea. Deep purple plums dotted every branch, so I named her Plummy. I watered her, climbed on her, and found a perfect spot to hide and spy until everyone wondered where I was. I spent my first day in America with Plummy, and she became my tree. Whenever I missed my home in Korea, Plummy lifted me up and I played on her branches. In the spring, I celebrated my birthday under her blooming white flowers. In the summer, I watched the sky through her thick green leaves. In the fall, I picked purple plums and shared them with the neighbors. And in the winter, I listened to the wind whistling through her dark brown branches. Plummy made me feel at home. One spring night, a rainstorm with high winds swept through the city and knocked down many trees, old and new, and Plummy fell down that night. The next morning I saw Plummy lying in the middle of the yard, away from the house, away from the deck, and away from the fence. Her roots were pulled out of the earth, worn out and sad. An old tree knows when to lie down when it's time, my grandma had told me in Korea. I climbed on Plummy and stood on her. How immense she looked under my feet. For days she turned into everything I wished for: a tree house, a rocket, an island, a ship. Neighborhood kids joined in and we all had fun until a little boy scraped his arm and cried, and then it was time for Plummy to go. The next day Plummy was hauled away, and without Plummy everything felt different. No more white flowers, no more green shade, no more purple plums or whistling wind, and no more secret hiding place. In the middle of the yard I stood alone, remembering Plummy, tall, crooked, and quiet. Daddy, I miss Plummy. And my dad nodded and squeezed my hand, and a few days later we planted a new plum tree, short and straight, in Plummy's old place. I watered her and patted down the soil, and I wondered if she would ever know an old tree once stood there where her roots were spreading. I watered her more, and she grew little by little. Then one day I saw something familiar. The new plum tree had her first blossoms. White, fresh flowers dotted every branch and fluttered in the breeze. The new tree was short and straight, but dawned in milky petals. She stood quiet, like Plummy. "Hello," I whispered. In the backyard of our home stands a young plum tree. I water her and watch her grow tall and strong, and I feel right at home.